Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope you're all doing good. The governor of Michigan, has anybody heard of her? The governor of Michigan, she'd like to offer you communion. You guys remember that video? When Camela, who they say is the new frontrunner, we'll get into that in just a few minutes, was running for president, well, now President Trump would like to have her be one of the advisors on strengthening state-federal partnerships on key national security, disaster responses, and military coordination issues. Now, I did a quick 5-minute video on this topic yesterday, so if you guys haven't heard about this yet, and you want a short, concise version, make sure you go and watch that video, because this is my normal Friday night live stream where we hang out for an hour or two or whatever. So I'm going to talk more about that because I've gotten tons of comments, and I asked you guys a question in the video. I'm like, hey, make sense of this for me, guys, if you can. And a lot of people were completely baffled, and they're like, yeah, right, this is insane. And a lot of other people said, well, here's all the reasons why Trump would do this. And I'm going to go over some of that. We'll have a discussion on it. And as always, shout out to everybody who's watching on replay. Feel free to leave a comment down there after the video is done. And for those of you who are in the chat, talk about this stuff with each other, because these are actually important things to think about. Because the United States of America, these 50 United States, there's some that are certainly less worse than others. And the governor of Michigan, probably the worst. Like, I don't even think it's too much of a debate. You know, when everybody was locked down 4 or 5 years ago now, wow, how time flies. That's been about 5 years, hasn't it? There was kind of a competition to see who could be worse between the then governor of New York, Cuomo, and the other one that's known as, geez, I have to be very careful. She's known as so many things, but this is a family-friendly channel. We'll just call her the Gretch. It was a debate on literally who was the worst governor and the most tyrannical governor. And trust me, guys, I still live in the state of Michigan. Many, many awesome people here. I'm hoping we have some good reason to see light at the end of the tunnel, but this has turned into one of the crappiest states. This governor, this person, this whatever. And I feel bad because I feel like I'm being too nice to the governor of Michigan to call her, it, a person, actually. So I'll take that back. This whatever that's the governor of Michigan has really done a lot of terrible things to this state. How many seniors in nursing homes? We'll never know. How many lost businesses? How many people just in despair? How much financial ruin, how much mental ruin. It's hard to even quantify that, but she's literally made Michigan a terrible place in so many ways. But there are lots of awesome people here that live in Michigan. There truly are. And I know many of you, a lot of you that I consider friends. So it's kind of startling and it's kind of shocking when you see President Trump, who I'm aware that it seems about 90% of my viewers are huge fans of, appointing her to such a thing. So I wanted to bring it up to you all because I think it's a good conversation to have. And I don't know, we'll talk about it a little bit more tonight. Also, yeah, you saw the title. Like, I'm not making this up. I'm not making any of this stuff up. Like, I totally wish I was, but I'm not. Kamala Harris is the new front runner for the Democrats. They put out this big poll today. It's all over the internet, and she's up like 26 points, so we might be seeing her around again. Jeez, oh Pete. Camela, look, there's so many different ways these people pronounce their names. I don't even know how to pronounce them, don't know how to spell them, so I just put Camela, like Camela, because, you know, I figured camel, like the dromedary, and she actually looks like a camel. Look, these are not good-looking people, not on the inside or out. So I figured I'd throw her in there. So you guys can, while you're in the chat, let's take a little informal poll. It's not exactly a poll, but who do you prefer? The Gretch or Camela? Which one's your favorite of the two? Let me know tonight. I know both of them probably have many fans in here. Also, speaking of the governor of Michigan, I'm going to go to the Michigan State of the State address. Yeah, by the governor. I'm going to be there. I'm going to actually be reporting on it while I'm there. And I'm going to ask for some feedback and some requests from you guys before the stream's over tonight. So we're definitely going to get into all of this. Come on, both of you guys. Some of you guys are fans. All I'm seeing right now is neither. Both need to be put in the trash bin. Come on, guys. Somebody just said 2-8 EDU. You're not nice enough. I'm being very nice. Which one? Which one are you a fan of? The Gretch or Camela? Let me know. Which one would you like to have tea with? Which one would you like to offer you communion? We'll just ask it that way, just to be a little more frank about it. But before we get into all this, I want to thank all of you for the many ways you help support this channel. Thank you to all of my channel members, where you guys get extra little emojis you can use in the chat. Your name's highlighted in green for recognition, and I do appreciate all of you. Also, those of you who leave super chats tonight, you guys are my sponsors, and if I get 5 super chats in the first hour, I will do a Q&A from the chat. Not just for the people that leave the super chats, because of course I'm going to read all of those, but I'll go in there and dig out what I can. So if we get there, awesome. Also, thanks to all my Patreon supporters and my supporters over on Locals, which is a different site, censorship free. Make sure you check it out because I'm posting awesome deals on stuff over there, stuff that you'll want to know about, because there's something else going on that you guys may or may not know about. There could be some more unsettled waters brewing that actually has nothing to do with any of this. But I think about 2020 and ammo shortages, and yeah, I'll just cut straight to the chase. Apparently, they're brewing up, or there's going to be another huge Kung flu that's going to sweep through, and I'll actually talk about that a little bit tonight too, although this is not really like a medical channel, and I'm not going to discuss any of that aspect of it. I do remember how it affected the ammo and how it was pretty tough. So there's lots of stuff that's all being announced at the same time today. So also check out Myriad Social. The link's down in the description. It's not only a censorship-free site, but it's uncensorable, as well as over on X and the sister site to Locals that rhymes with fumble. Look, I'm doing extra content there literally every week where I show guns during live streams and do all kinds of cool stuff that we just can't do here on YouTube. So I hope to see all of you guys over there. And if you're watching on replay, you can sponsor this stream by leaving a super thanks, like a super chat, but it's on replay and there's no ad reads because, again, you guys are the sponsors. So thank you very much. All right. So Trump appoints Gretchen Whitmer to the Council of Governors. Now, is this the most important appointment or the most important council ever? Probably not. And on a general normal day that ends in the letter Y, where there's nothing crazy going on, probably not a whole lot. However, this is something that sits there as kind of like a advisory board / coordinators if there is some type of disaster that either needs like military deployment or just any type of domestic. Maybe we're invaded by a foreign military. Maybe we're invaded by something that comes out of, how do I word this? Let's just say Wuhan, right? Look, they claim that people are eating bats again, if you know what I mean. If you remember 5 years ago, like, I wish I could make this stuff up, but I actually can't. Today's kind of a crazy news day when it comes to everything that's going on. Then all of a sudden, this Council of Governors actually can become very influential and actually make decisions. And I think about that with the governor of Michigan literally handling the disaster probably worse than anybody of all time in 2020. Literally being responsible for all of those seniors in the nursing homes. Look, guys, some of you remember this, and shout out to all of you who are here. Sound off in the chat if you literally remember me sitting here about 4.5 years ago, I guess it would have been at this point, maybe even a little longer than that. And I said, guys, I don't even know how I'm going to feed my family now because I can't cut grass. For all of you who are new here, welcome. It's good to have you here. And look, being a Second Amendment advocate, that's my passion. And due to all of the generous donations from you all, I'm able to keep it going. But I'm not a professional YouTuber. This is not how I make my living. But I do own a small landscaping, a lawn service, snow removal in the winter. Geez, it needs to stop snowing. Ugh. Let me know what you guys think of snow. Can't stand the stuff right now. Not this time of year. But I cut grass. That's like one of the biggest parts of my revenue in the spring. This, whatever she is, see, I was being too nice earlier, somebody told me, when I called the governor of Michigan a person. But look, this whatever, she literally made it illegal to cut grass in the state of Michigan. To cut grass. She said that you could go out on a rowboat, but not a motorboat. Meanwhile, her husband was out there boating and yachting and water skiing. Do you guys remember all this? This is someone who's literally handled disasters worse than you could ever just like screw up. This is someone that leaves people like me no choice but to believe that these were evil decisions, and she was doing everything she possibly could to completely and utterly destroy this state and destroy as many people as possible. And that's the conclusion I've come to, because it was kind of in your face. Now, I'm going to go through some of the popular comments about that video that I did yesterday. And again, if some of you are wondering about it, this is more of an in-depth than me talking to you all. But if you want to watch the short, concise version, it's there. It's on the channel. Go watch the video. If you need to, watch it, come back, whatever, where I literally go through this in just a couple of minutes, because it's a very short little article, but at the same time, it's kind of a bigger thing. And I took a few notes. Now, this is a Second Amendment channel. How does this tie into the Second Amendment? Well, I actually definitely think it does, because Whitmer actually ordered all of the gun shops to be closed in Michigan. Do you remember that? Gun shops were, quote, a non-essential business. You could buy this, you could buy that, you could go to the strip club, you could go buy alcohol, you could buy anything else the ATF regulates. You could buy the alcohol, you could buy the tobacco. And look, shout out to all of you guys who use both. That's not my point. But my thing is, like, but the firearms, the part that's specifically 100% enumerated in the Bill of Rights that says shall not be infringed, she shut down the gun shops. Well, then at that time, when he was president at 45, Trump's administration came through and said, nope, we're overriding you. And then on the national level, they declared gun shops were essential businesses. So he's actually literally gotten into conflicts with this governor before over disaster issues. And he's spoken out about her as much as anybody has, probably besides me and other people from Michigan. Look, we've called her out as much as anybody. But this is an enemy to the state of Michigan. This is an enemy to the Second Amendment. And you all better hope she doesn't attain her higher aspirations and she just retires and goes off boating and whatever her and her husband do when no one else can boat. You remember all that? Don't forget that. Hopefully she just goes off and retires and takes up knitting or whatever, because she has national aspirations. You're going to see her again. And while right now she's Michigan's problem, and that's true, she could become all of our problem. And now she's been appointed to a council of governors, which, if the situation arises, okay, if it does, this is one of those things where it doesn't mean much till all of a sudden it does. And hopefully it never does, especially not with her and some of these other people or whatever they are on there. Some of them you're just waiting for them to take their mask off and like see the scales underneath or something. Like, these are really, really, really creepy individuals. But yeah, the way she's handled disasters, even very specifically to the Second Amendment, letting some of the major cities in Michigan just get rioted and demolished, while telling the state guard to stand off and not bringing them in there to bring law and order back to the streets to protect people's businesses, homes, and livelihoods from being pillaged. In fact, all of these things that someone on the Council of Governors would do, it seems she was trying to do as terrible as anybody possibly could, right? So here's what I held up in my video yesterday, okay? And I'll kind of repeat what I said yesterday, because probably not for any of you watching right now, but like, I guess some things in life you just can't take for granted. As I told you in the video yesterday, I said, this comes from whitehouse.gov. Like, I went to the White House's official website and I printed it off. And I said, and this is not a long article, so I'm going to read it to you. And I did. And I held it up to show you what it was. Now, this is something that's just amazing. And I'm going to kind of go through some of the comments. And I still want you guys to chime in as much as you can on this while we're live and then again on the replay, because I believe most of you are very smart people. I say most because there's obviously some people in the comments who are not very smart people at all and clearly didn't watch the video that they were critiquing on or whatever. But one of the comments I got more than once on that video, now this just blows my mind, more than once, let me show you this real quick here, said, this guy's making this up. Okay. And the reasoning was, you guys can go back and read the comments. Some of them are still there. Some of them got schooled so hard they tucked tail and ran. But one of the reasons they said is, dude, none of the big YouTubers are covering this. I was like, well, okay, thanks for the compliment. I guess I dug in and did a little more investigations than most, and I found a little niche thing that I thought was germane that a lot of you would want to know about that nobody else noticed. Hey, man, it takes all kinds of people, right? And so what if nobody with a lot of subs noticed it? I did notice it. But there were literally people saying, and more than one, unfortunately, that, well, since nobody with like a certain size channel or nobody from the fake news reported on this, that it had to be fake, that I had no source for this. And I'm like, guys, I told you in the video that it came from whitehouse.gov because it does come from whitehouse.gov. So can you guys even believe that I would have to do this? But look, this is whitehouse.gov. You go on the executive orders page or executive actions page, and there's a list, and it has them in order by date. And you guys can see that, yeah, literally every word I read from it's here because I literally printed it off. So there you go. For any of you that might still be wondering, is this real? Is this fake news? No, it's like 100% real. And look, I was telling you guys the truth. Like that's just how I am. Like I just talk to you guys like regular people because you all are regular people, aren't you? Besides the couple bots that might be out there. Besides the bots, shout out to the bots and the YouTube employees that love to watch this stream. Shout out to the ghost of Susan Wiki too. But besides all those and the bots, you guys are all just regular people. So I talk to you like regular people, and I'm sitting out there plowing snow. I had stopped for a couple minutes and pulled off on the side of the road. And I don't know, I was just kind of scrolling through the YouTube, and I was in my studio, it's called, and I saw my comments, and one of the viewers is like, hey man, just found your channel. So if you're watching tonight, man, welcome. And thank you for giving me the tip. He's like, did you hear that Trump just appointed Gretchen Whitmer to a council of governors? And I'm like, oh, come on, man. This guy's got to be joking. Like, please tell me it's joking. Because, like, you just get a comment from somebody, and it's like, you know, most of the time they're legit, except for sometimes they're not. So I'm like, okay. So I finished doing my snow. I come back to the shop, which this is a small little spot here where I have dedicated to my state-of-the-art recording studio. I know a lot of you guys like the decor in here, but no, this is like a shop, and there's just like this little, like, oh gosh, you guys are seeing about 5-6 feet of it, but the rest of it's like tools and all this. So I come back here and I'm like, well, it looks like this is true. Wow. Maybe other people want to know about it. So I sat down and I did the video, right? What's up, Lori DeVries? See, I told you there's good people in Michigan. There you go. You're welcome. Wouldn't have known about it. I know, like, I don't know. It's probably not interesting enough for the big YouTubers to talk about it, but I'm not trying to be a big YouTuber. I thought, well, if I'm sitting here wondering about this and wondering what Trump's up to, okay, I'm still wondering what he's up to. You guys have given me a lot of responses, though, but I'm still trying to figure this one out. Trust me. And I hope that most of you are right. I really do. So, yeah, it just says today, President Donald J. Trump announced new appointments to the Council of Governors, a bipartisan group of state leaders tasked with strengthening state-federal partnerships on key national security, disaster response, and military coordination issues. And here's the states, and I just threw in the letters behind it because just to show you that it is a bipartisan. And from my research, yeah, there has to be 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats on it. So, of course, there's going to be Democrats on this. I was just questioning, like, why is Whitmer on it? And then also Kathy Hochul from New York. Like, you look at some of these, and it's like, well, look, a lot of these aren't good. And I get it. I'm probably not going to even find one Democrat governor that I'm going to agree with. I totally understand that. Let alone 5, it's going to be hard. But there would have to be 5 Democrat governors, in my opinion, that would be less worse than, well, Whitmer. And then you also got to throw Kathy Hochul in there. Her and all of her ilk are the ones that have been trying to throw Trump in prison, which is insane. Like, to try to put, they were still having hearings for him after he had already been elected when he was president-elect. They were still talking about trying to throw him in prison. I think they're still trying to right now in many regards. I mean, these people are sick. So we've got Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia. Shout out to my Virginia viewers. Do I have any Virginians in the chat? What about from North Carolina? And that one did startle me, but a few people did explain that. A few of you guys in North Carolina said, well, yeah, dude, there's a lot of corruption that happens in this state. And hey, look, everybody, and especially in a lot of these big cities, they're not as conservative as you might think. So thanks for explaining that to me, because I had to look at it like 3 times. I'm like, the governor of North Carolina is a Democrat. Wow. Well, clearly there's a lot of Democrats in North Carolina, but I didn't know that. Now, from what I understand, your state house and Senate are Republican controlled. Okay, you guys generally do lean more Republican, but for whatever reason, it's kind of like the state of Kentucky, actually, from what I'm learning. And you guys that live there, tell me. I'm just recounting what viewers have told me, because look, I live in Michigan. I'm never going to try to claim I know more about your state than you do. But the way it was kind of explained to me is it's a lot like Kentucky. It's conservative, except for it's not, right? Because Kentucky has a rabidly liberal anti-2A governor right now. Did you guys know that? That's also very good friends with Gretchen Whitmer, J.D. Prickster, however you pronounce his name, from Illinois. These guys are friends. They hang out. They whatever. It was just weird because, I mean, talk about a beautiful state, though. North Carolina, beautiful. All the mountains. Wow. If you guys have never been, do yourself a favor. Drive through North Carolina. I mean, Virginia, West Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, beautiful mountains in this whole area. Shout out to all of you. But man, some of the most beautiful, if I had to pick, it's just right there where Tennessee just goes right into North Carolina. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's the Blue Ridge. And the people that I've met, awesome people there too. Like both of the Carolinas. I know you guys are separate states. I don't lump you together, but I say both of the Carolinas, meaning I drive through North Carolina typically to my destination in South Carolina, where I've gone each of the last 4 years or so. But yeah, really nice people. I like Southern people. I like the mountains. I was just shocked. You guys have a Democrat governor down there, and you do. I guess that's what the people in North Carolina want. Kentucky blows my mind just as equally. I'm just saying. But I guess that's what the people of Kentucky want. Or at least supposedly. Now they say, look, dude, you can't believe it. These elections are not so good. That's what people told me. And trust me, I believe you. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. I know there's probably lots of fans of his. Maybe not. Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia. I know him and Trump were arch nemesis before, but I think they made right again and became friends again a little before this last election. But Brian Kemp was an interesting one. I know there was a huge back and forth between Trump and him at one time. Maybe not anymore. And then we've got Governor Jeff Landry, Republican from Louisiana. Don't know a lot about him. Governor Westmore from Maryland. I had a couple viewers say this is not a good person for the 2A at all. Yeah. Let me know if you live in these states and what you think about some of these people, because some of them I kind of know. Then Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, I said her name. I'm just doing it for journalistic accuracy. Okay. That's what's written on here. Look, it's a family-friendly channel. You guys can sound off as much as YouTube will allow you to in the thing, because they'll censor you too, trust me. But we'll just say they call her many things, right? Some people even call her the governor of Michigan. Governor Kathy Hochul, well, that's a no-brainer. That's a gun grabber. I've heard all about her. This is not good. Governor Josh Shapiro, shout out to my Pennsylvanian friends out there. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, right? Look, this guy's a gun grabber extreme. He's way up there on the gun grabber list. This is a terrible governor for the Second Amendment. All right. And then we have Governor Henry McMaster's from South Carolina. Don't know the guy. South Carolina, I guess, tends to be a little bit more conservative than North Carolina by looking at the R versus the D. And I say conservative, I'm using big air quotes because I don't even know what conservative means anymore. And I reject the two-party system. If you guys want to know where I'm personally at, I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool Republican. I'm certainly not a Democrat. Like, no matter what, I just want like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness because what Thomas Jefferson wrote and the founding fathers signed July 4th, 1776. I mean, besides the Bible, that's the most beautiful book I've ever read. But besides that, I mean, this is one of the most beautiful documents a country's ever written. That's what I want. That's what I want, is what the founding fathers set us up for, this republic, if we can keep it. And all this blue versus red, it frustrates the daylights out of me. I actually get super, super frustrated with it. But the 2A has become a political issue. So you either have to engage in it or it's going to engage you, whether you like it or not. And I've learned that. But I wish that wasn't the case. And I don't know exactly how to fix it, but I do reject this two-party system. Another thing that people said in the comments, a decent amount, which was kind of interesting. So, look, you guys know how to read, right? I mean, come on. I'm assuming you know how to read. I do too. So I'm reading along. This is like boldface. This is super short. So I'm reading along, and it says about the Council of Governors. Okay, we'll learn a little bit about them. The Council of Governors was established by the NDAA, that's the National Defense Authorization Act of 2008. And then I just briefly, out of the corner of my eye, saw 2010, and I said, okay, so we're talking Obama era. But wait, 2A EDU, and I said that in the video, I said, so Obama, but 2A EDU. Actually 2A EDU, it wasn't Obama. It was Bush, because while Obama got voted in the fall of 2008, he wasn't actually president until 2009. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But they didn't listen 2 seconds further because I actually read the whole sentence in real time. So let's read it together in real time, keeping in mind, like, I don't want to say I'm smart, but I'm smart enough to like visually see a couple words ahead before I verbally articulate them, right? So I'm just telling you guys what my mindset was as I'm reading this. The NDAA of 2008, formally created by Executive Order 13528 in 2010. So I don't stand corrected on that, and I will not retract that from the video yesterday because it says formally created. So this was created by an executive order number 13528. You can look that up in the National Archives and literally prove whose signature will be on that. And that was Barack Hussein Obama, who was the president in 2010. Okay. Like, really? But yeah, actually, I had a few people, but actually 2A EDU. This was, no, look. It got established by the NDAA of 2008, sure. But it wasn't actually created. So it was created right here. Created during the Obama administration, 2010. Look, we got a long way to go, guys. I'm just saying, the gun community, awesome people in it, trust me. But it's also not so smart, too. Like, there's a reason why we keep losing, because people, I'm like, man, some of the stuff people are battling me on, wow. But anyways, I don't see anybody in the chat that was battling me on this, by the way. I'm just saying, just some of these people, like, wow. It serves as a key forum for governors and federal officials to enhance collaboration on disaster response, National Guard operations, and military integration within the states. Now, that's actually scary in and of itself, though, right? Like literally look at that. Military integration within the states. Yeah, I don't like the idea of the military integrating with anything within the states because our military is not supposed to be any type of domestic police force. And yeah, I don't know. It's just something about the way that's worded doesn't quite rub me the right way. Military integration within the states. I don't know. And I hope here, I'm trying to keep up like out of the corner of my eye. the live chat, but my StreamYard that I use is not updating the chat. So hopefully it'll catch up in the next couple minutes because I'm assuming there's people chatting. Hopefully it's just a technical glitch. All right. So the other things from the video, my takeaways, right? And I want you guys to keep discussing this because I don't want to just skip over it because I think there is some kind of important stuff with this just to think about. Even if these Council of Governors is never actually called on, it still has to do with a basic concept. Like, okay, you've got Trump here. Many of you guys are big fans. I know some of you guys are like steep critics, can't stand him at all. I get that. We're going to have both, and that's totally fine, right? Like, if you guys want to bash Trump like crazy in the chat right now, that's totally fine with me. If you guys want to sing his praises and say how awesome he is, that's actually totally fine with me too. And I actually do have views on both sides of that equation with certain things. Okay, so I actually get it. I get all of that. That's totally fine, right? So you've got Trump in one hand here. He's called her out before. He's called her the Wicked Witch of the North. He's called her that woman and just all these different things. He's talked about like how terrible she is. All right. Well, a lot of you are big Trump fans, like I just said earlier. And some of you aren't. Don't give in to peer pressure. If you're not, voice your opinion too. I promise you, like, I'm totally fine with it. I totally understand why some of you love him. I totally understand why some of you don't. That all like totally is what it is. And I promise you, I get it. Like, I really do. Now you've got Gretchen. I would be willing to bet that probably nobody, maybe one, but probably nobody likes the Gretch that's watching this channel, if I had to guess. So for many people, this is something that can be looked at as being like diametrically opposed. Where like of all the people he could pick, why does he appoint? Because look, he's got to appoint 5 Democrats. I totally get that. But why would he pick somebody like her who he's come after as hard as he's come after any of these governors? Now, he just had this whole thing with the governor of Maine today. I'll briefly touch on that in a minute because it's not exactly Second Amendment related, but he's not cut her any slack in the past. So it's just kind of weird, right? Oh, man, I do have a Gretchen fan in the house. Someone just gave me a thumbs down. So don't forget to leave a thumbs up, guys, because isn't that amazing? I said, there's probably no Gretchen fans in this chat watching. And like literally as soon as I said that, I just saw out of the corner of my eye over there. Bing. You guys can help cancel that out with a thumbs up if you don't mind. You can't even make this up. It's like, I'm pretty sure nobody's a fan of Gretchen watching right now. There was one fan. There's a Camela fan in here too somewhere. I'll probably get another thumbs down in a little bit when I talk about her. So I also guessed in the video, which I said right in it, I'm like, okay, look, a lot of you are going to say he's playing some type of chess. Let me know what it is because I just ain't understanding any of this. And I still kind of don't understand it, but a lot of you guys did bring up a salient point. And it literally comes down to the old keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. Probably got a couple hundred comments literally saying that. Like almost literally exactly that word for word. And I got to thinking about that, and that is kind of like a proverbial thing. It's been around longer, I think, than anybody even knows. Like, I think that quote is so old, there's nobody who can be provably attributed to. Now, I know a lot of people said it's Sun Tzu. I have to read it again. It's been a while. I don't remember that quote actually being in that book, The Art of War. Maybe it is, though. Let me know in the chat. But I believe the quote actually, like, and then if it is in there, I believe the quote actually goes back even further than that, though. I believe that's a line that's been literally around so long, nobody even knows who originally said it. Let me know if I'm wrong, though, on that, because a lot of you did attribute that to Sun Tzu. Specifically, even The Art of War, it's called, right? Which is a book that maybe a lot of you have read. So I thought about that, and I'll give you guys my honest opinion right now. My first inkling was like, I don't think so. But maybe, though, after thinking about it for quite a while, because it's like, well, just because 100 people think something differently than me doesn't mean that, like, I just give into it because I'm outnumbered. I'm not like that at all. However, when I see a lot of people say something, it does give me a little pause where I'm like, well, let's think about this a little longer. And I actually slept on it and thought about it and woke up today and got a lot more comments. I actually see where you guys are coming from. I see where you're coming from. I don't know, though. And I truly mean this. Like, I'm not just riding the fence because I want to make less enemies. Look, as soon as I say the word President Trump, I'm going to lose a couple subs, no matter what. Because half the people say, I'm not, I'm not supporting him enough. The other half will say, I'm not berating him enough. Look, there's really no way to talk about this guy, but we need to talk about him because he's the president. There's no way to talk about certain people without getting some people mad. So that's totally fine. But I'm thinking about it for a minute, and I'm like, well, I do see where you're coming from. I do. But I'm just not sure. What do you guys think? So so you keep your friends close. Well, that's obvious. So you want friends around you, but you keep your enemies closer. Look, somebody a lot wiser than me said that, because that quote's still being passed down for like thousands and thousands of years. Look, life's short, right? You make the best of it, then you die, and I'm going to die, and we're all going to die, and there'll be a time where not one person in this whole world will ever even remember I existed, and they'll never even remember anything I said. And it's kind of like a somber topic, so I want to get off of that, but it's just true. It really is. There's a 99.9% chance, 99.9, almost infinite 9% chance that through the sands of time, nobody will ever remember anything I said. But people still remember whoever said that. So for something to have carried along this long, there's clearly something there. Like, obviously, this is like one of the most proverbial or one of the most quoted things of all time. I think it's even often misquoted where it came from, but let me know in the chat and I will read all of it afterwards. So I'm like, no, there's some there. Like, if something's literally been passed down for like so far and nobody even knows how long it's been and people are still saying it, there's probably something to that. So you want your friends around you, obviously, right? Because they have your back and you want to be surrounded by people who will help you. Now, that can be a little tricky too, because how many friends do you really have, actually, at the end of the day? So keeping your friends close, that can be very tricky and potentially actually very treacherous. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember things people said, and look, people that matter to you do remember what you say. So you're all important and you need to keep talking. I just meant like nobody's going to remember what I said thousands of years from now, but they do remember what this person said. But I do remember something my dad told me years ago, because sometimes when you're younger, maybe you're in high school, maybe you're in whatever, there's this whole thing where everyone makes you think you need to be popular, right? And that's great for some people. Some people don't want to be. Some people try and they don't ever become part of the in crowd or popular with a bunch of friends. And I remember, I can't even remember how it really came up exactly, but I was probably complaining something along the lines of, man, I don't know. Maybe this person doesn't want to be my friend anymore or whatever. The old saying, she don't want to be my friend no more. And you cry about it and it sucks, but it makes you a better person in the long run. And I'm glad whoever, I can't even remember her name from high school anymore, it made me cry about her and lose her, because I'd way rather be with my current beautiful wife than anyone like that I don't even remember them anymore. So these are good things. But I remember I was complaining about something to my dad, and he's like, look, son, if you can literally find this many people, if you can count the true friends that you ever have in your life on one hand, you're very, very lucky. And I actually believe that. Do you guys too? Like, the older I get, the more I actually believe in that a lot. So the whole keep your friends close and your enemies closer is actually very complex. And it's very interesting to me. And I don't want to bore you guys with this, and I hope you're not, but this is stuff I've kind of enjoyed thinking about for the last 24 hours or so. It's like, well, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But a lot of these people that are your friends are only your friends when you're up on top. As soon as the chips are down, and as soon as they become inconvenienced by you, as soon as you're not putting forth what they want from you, a lot of them aren't your friends anymore. And that's when you find out who your friends are. So the whole keep your friends close, your enemies closer, I'm not even sure what that means, because it's hard to define even who a friend is. Now, we're talking in real life right now for things that actually matter. You jump to politics. Are there any friends in politics at all? Now, you can be friends with a person that's a real person that also happens to be a politician. But if you get in the political sphere where you're just dealing with people on a political level, like, is there even a such thing as a friend in politics? Are there friends in politics, or is everybody some type of enemy? Or are some people just jousting for position and jostling for rank, trying to suit their needs and suit their ends and better themselves at all costs? Because that's actually what I've seen more than anything in politics. So the reason why I don't know that I've come to the conclusion that many of you have, that keep your friends close and your enemies closer, because when it becomes to this political sphere, I don't even know what a friend is. I don't know what a political friend even technically means. Ally, sure. But true friend, I don't know. No, enemy. What's an enemy mean? Well, I believe people like Gretchen Whitmer have been enemies of the people of Michigan. Now, you could say not necessarily, because she doesn't even know who we are, but look, she put the jackboot of the government down on our necks so hard, people are still reeling from it. People are still having a very, very hard time. So I would consider her an enemy of we the people of the state of Michigan. And I've heard Trump call her out many, many times. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it seems like he's probably considered her an enemy of his America First movement, his MAGA movement, whatever you want to classify Trump as, and his momentum, that he's had during these campaigns. I mean, he's won like 3 different times in a row, I guess, right? But look, I think you could classify her as more of like an enemy. So I do understand that. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, how close do you let your enemy? And is this even letting her in close? I don't know. I'm just literally asking you guys questions so we can talk about it and think about it a little bit. Because by him bringing her into this council, a lot of people have said he has more of a watchful eye over her now. Maybe he does. But keep in mind, this is POTUS. He could keep a watchful eye on anybody. Really. I mean, all of the intelligence agencies serve as his pleasure. So if he wants to keep an eye on somebody, he could keep an eye on anybody. So I don't know that he needs to appoint somebody to a council to keep an eye on them per se, because, well, look, he could keep an eye on her. She's a governor. She's a sitting governor. She's going out to do a big state of the state speech that I'll be watching here next Wednesday in Lansing, Michigan. So he could keep an eye on her, I think, regardless of whether she's on this or not. But I do still understand, and I understand the general strategy of keep your friends close and your enemies closer, but how close do you want your enemy? And that's where it's just such a fine line. If there's a disaster that happens and you need these governors to help put the plan in action, help to mobilize their state guards, to potentially federalize them, deploy them, when you're just talking about all the different things, like maybe they need to redirect a water levee because a dam broke, just maybe they need to lock people down, they think, right? Look at what she did in the lockdowns. Lock people down. Ruin people's lives. How many seniors? You guys know what I'm talking about if you're from Michigan. How many seniors? So I get it. You do want to keep your enemies close. So here's my question to all of you that said that, because look, I'm not refuting it outright. I'm just still not completely understanding it. Do you let her in close enough insofar as you can watch her and not let her do anything tyrannical ever again? I think that's what you guys mean, but let me know. Because here's the thing I'm scared of. You let her in too close where she can actually make decisions, okay, or help develop, because it literally says right here, tasked with strengthening state-federal partnerships on key national security, disaster responses, and military coordination issues. I don't trust her coordination. I don't trust her response. I think her record proves she's terrible at all the above. Do you let her in so close that she can actually do things that would cause irrevocable harm. So where's that fine line at? I don't know. But I did just give you guys a very thorough response to the friends close, enemies closer. Maybe it was too thorough for some of you, but this is long form content. And I wanted to try to spark a thoughtful conversation. And I hope I've done that. And hopefully you guys are thinking about it and talking amongst yourselves. QD, there he is. There's somebody from the great state of Virginia. What's happening, man? He says, you've got friends close and far, dude. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. And I know you are, and I appreciate you being out there, man. We're a long ways away, but hey, we're hanging out tonight, right? I'm going to read a couple super chats, and I'm going to get into some more of these comments, just kind of going through some things you guys said, which, like I said, just trying to sort it out. Ooh, looks like we reached our super chat goal. Very nice. I will definitely do some Q&A here in a little bit before the stream's over. Mateo coming in here, channel member with a super chat. He says 1 of 5 now. Well, thank you for getting the ball rolling, and thank you for all of the work you do to help this channel behind the scenes, because there's low budget, then there's no budget. So I appreciate you doing all of the hard work for the channel, just because you want to keep the channel going, because that's the only motivation you would have. So thank you. Bill Camperus, what's happening, dude? A channel member and a $20 super chat. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. He says, let's get the party started. Okay, hold on. Since he said, let's get the party started. So hold on a minute. Now, you guys thought that you had escaped it. Remember? Oh, man, I think Cutie's going to be mad at me. Look, a lot of you guys are going to get mad at me for this, but hold on a minute. No, Cutie's not going to get mad at me. We're actually good friends, but hold on. A lot of you guys are going to want to unsee this. Let's get the party started, boys and girls. Who are you your biggest fan of? Get your puke bags ready. Are you a fan of? Say, look. Wow. Ooh. Are you a good look at this beauty? Now, look, when we call these beauties, we mean in a different kind of way. Do you prefer this? Or do you prefer this? I know. I told you guys I was putting this away. I told you I was going to put it away after the last election, but here's the problem. She's polling number 1 right now, according to this big poll by the fake news. Number 1 in the polls in the whole country. Look, don't believe me? I'll have to screen share this in a minute, because I know some people are going to call me out on this and be like, there's no way. Who would you like to have offer you communion? Here? Or here? See, Bill? He says, let's get this party started. I'm like, well, yeah, guys. Come on, you didn't think you were going to be bored tonight, did you? Somebody said, wow, this is boring. He's getting into like deep philosophical issues with what a friend is. Well, yeah, but now the party started, and now whoa. Don't mind if I just sit here and I'm trying to make up my mind, guys. Don't mind if I make up my mind. Let me see here. Wow. Ooh, ah. Ooh, wow. I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is a close one. Maybe some of the lovely ladies in the chat can chime in, because women are good at this. They'll like critique their makeup or whatever. And, you never even, I'm talking like totally straight women in this chat. We like straight women that are in this chat, by the way. But look, the women can chime in too, because you'll like critique their makeup or say, yeah, her eyelashes ain't up to snuff. Which one, you know what I'm saying, right? QD with a super chat and a channel member. Thanks so much for your long time generous support, man. And he says, well, love you too. And I told you guys, like, dude, awesome people across the country. And I think you guys as a whole are pretty much like pretty happy with your governor in Virginia. I know you guys have turned things around a lot. Governor Glenn Youngkin, right? So I'm real happy for my friends over there. I know Marco Polo's a regular here. He's from Virginia. John Crump from time to time we'll see in here. He's from Virginia, QD. So yeah, man, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate all your support, man. G23, what's happening, G23? Thank you for the super chat. He says, unpack parachutes for both. See, that's the thing. Like, ooh, unpack the parachutes. Well, there's somebody in here that's kind of still thinking about it. They'll come in on replay 3 days later and be like, 2AE to you. Don't tell anybody. And I promise I won't. If you guys want to just tell me the truth later in the comments, I will. They'll say, well, I actually prefer Gretchen just a little bit. You know what I mean? You never know, man. And thank you for the super chat. Carson Cruz with a super chat. Well, thank you, Carson. And I don't see a message there, but I appreciate you helping to sponsor the channel. And I will be putting the money to good use. And I'm going to go to the Michigan Capitol next Wednesday, okay? And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes with you guys. And I'm going there like for all of you. I'm going to bring content back. And I'm actually going to ask you guys to help me, let's just say, decide the itinerary. Okay, there's a few ideas I have, and I wanted to see what you all thought. Who you'd like to hear from, whatever, right? Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, hold on. I'm just trying to look at the chat real quick here. Wow. It looks like so far, I mean, yeah, the hat works kind of. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know. You know what I mean? Lori DeVries? I know what you're saying there. I saw that. What's happening, Dale? Which one do you like? Which one do you like, Dale? QD says, don't you dare. Well, look, I have these sitting here. Now, there are a couple other things to think about with Michigan and many of these other states here. Border states. Well, that's true. Michigan is a border state to Canada and has like lots of border on Canada. Gosh, I hope they don't become the 51st state. That would be atrocious. I know why Trump's saying that, though. And look, this goes back to what so many of you have said so many times. 3D chess. Look, if somebody's playing chess, it's Trump. He's clearly playing chess when he goes up to Trudeau and in Canada and calls him like Governor Trudeau and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, clearly that's him using that for some type of strategic advantage, right? So, like, I do get that. I do get that. And I'm hoping Trump has something really good in mind somehow by appointing the worst possible person in the whole country to this Council of Governors. And my hope is very sincere. Like, I really hope that. For the communion, QD, I think they use the nacho cheesier, I think. Go back and look at this. If you guys don't believe me, go look up Governor Whitmer or Gretchen Whitmer communion. I guess you'd type in. Right, Gort? What would you type in to find that? What's happening, Gort? I don't know. There's a flask under the hat, J Flo says. Wow, I mean, yeah, probably. Actually. Yeah, that was that when she did that, man. You guys familiar with this book? So she did a book, an autobiography or whatever you call it, called True Gretch. You can go look it up. It's online if you want to read it, which I wouldn't read it. But then Michigan Representative Steve Cara. Anybody know Steve? There's a picture of him. His name sounds familiar. I know Steve. Steve's a good Second Amendment fighter in Lansing. Very, very pro Second Amendment guy. And I'll tell you something about Steve. I've known him for a few years now. He will actually go to rallies. Like, I've literally seen him boots on the ground at rallies where he wasn't even a speaker per se. He was just like there in the crowd because he wanted to be. So pretty boots on the ground Second Amendment supporter guy. But he wrote a book called True Gretchen. Okay. And it's a parody by Steve Cara. So it's actually, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. My friend got this from him when he was at an event he was at a couple weeks ago. So if you're watching, thank you, Frank, for letting me borrow this. And maybe I'll see Steve next Wednesday, Representative Cara, and ask him for a copy of the book and buy a copy off of him. But he wrote this as a parody to her biography, and he writes this in like an autobiographical context. And I promise you guys, this is not a plug for his book. He has no idea I'm showing this. This is literally a friend of mine. Bought this book from him, let me borrow it, and I'm fixing to read it here soon. So it's basically written from the standpoint of Gretchen, like how she did in her biography, right? But it actually tells the truth of all the terrible stuff that she did rather than the version that she shined everyone on with in her official biography. So I thought it was kind of kind of a cute topic and good way to do it. So it's kind of funny in a way because it's a parody, but, and again, I haven't had a chance to read it all yet, but from what I understand, it's got a lot of important stuff in it too. So I don't know. If you guys are interested, again, I promise you guys, this is nothing to do with, like, I didn't even buy this book from him. I'm just telling you, if you want to look it up, though, it is on Amazon and all that, if you're curious. And I will buy a copy off him if I get a chance when I go there Wednesday, just to help support him, because I like it when people do stuff like this, to be honest. And then I can have my own copy to read instead of borrowing it from a friend. Michigan's a border state. So are most of the others that are on this list. Maybe all of them are, actually, the more I think about it. That's a good point. Michigan with the Great Lakes and the Sioux Locks and stuff. Yeah, Michigan could be a very strategic staging point or rallying point or whatever, right? So that's a good point you guys brought up. A lot of people just simply told me to trust the plan. Hey, that's cool, man. I don't really trust people, though, so that one's probably not for me. But if it's just like trust the plan just because, hey, you do you. I don't know, like whatever, right? Yeah, Robert Chase, parody and tragedy. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Now, this one was hilarious. Somebody literally said, "You're just knocking Trump," which I didn't knock Trump at all in that video. I'm not knocking Trump today either, actually. But look, I didn't knock Trump even once in the video. I was just like, wow, like he did this? I can't believe it. Like, wow, I wish he didn't. But somebody said, "You're just knocking Trump and Gretchen because you want to run for governor." Someone said that the whole point of the video was because I want to run for governor. I promise you guys, I do not want to run for governor or anything else. That's why you've never seen me run for anything. That was hilarious, and I wanted to share that comment with you. Some people said that it's to embarrass her and set her up for failure. That would be great. I would love to see her embarrassed and set up for failure, and I think that would be pretty good, right? All right. Now, I saw this on X earlier, okay? So you can follow me over on X if that's what you're into. And it literally says, now, again, I'm not good with these pronunciations, but they literally said that Camela, okay, let me find her again here. It's hard to even search for her. The way these people spell their names, look, they don't even know their own name. She literally pronounced her name like 3 different times. I'm Kamala. I'm Camela. I mean, it's like you can't even make this up. I'm the first black. I'm the first Indian. Doesn't know what color she is. Has no clue. None of these people know anything. But I literally saw like a few things in the trending here on Twitter just a little bit ago. And it said that Camela is the front runner. So let me pull this topic up here. Yeah, it says up 26 points. 26 points. She's above Pete. How do you pronounce his name? I think he pronounces it Pete Buttigieg. I think that's the pronunciation of his name. Phonetically, anyways. Pete Buttigieg. She's leading him by 26 points right now. Can you guys believe that? Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, so Trump appoints Gretchen, and I'm just like scrambled my brain yesterday. I'm like, you should have heard me. I literally sounded like the former vice president. I read, I'm like, boy, I hope this viewer's wrong. Oh, do I hope he's wrong? And I'm looking, I'm like, but my viewers are usually pretty smart, though. That's the problem here. I hope he's wrong. And I'm looking at it and I'm reading. I'm like, well, I'll have to read True Gretchen later. So I'm reading this article. I'm like, gosh, this guy better be wrong. And then I'm like, whoa, Trump did appoint. He did appoint to this council. Okay. And then you would have thought the former vice president was here, because I just sat there and said, I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize the pressure. I literally said that in my shop. That was the first thing I said, obviously. Don't you always say that when you've lost all your brain cells? So I'm reading through. I'm like, whoa. And then I go on to the old Twitter X. 2AEDU, don't dead name, whatever. The old Twitter, the X, whatever. We're not a politically correct channel. Do you guys want politically correct? 2AEDU, you need to be more polite. I'm like, dude, I was way too polite tonight. I actually slipped up a teeny bit and called the governor of Michigan a person for a brief moment. So don't say I'm being too nice. We're not politically correct here, and even some people say we're too nice. So I'm going through and I'm like, okay, so this happens. All right. And then I'm like, whoa, Camela is the front runner up by 26 points. I'm like, if the election were today, she'd win by a landslide, followed with a close 26-point deficit by Pete Buttigieg. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sincerely. I have no idea, though. And then I'm looking down a little bit further, and oh, by the way, there's a salt shortage in Michigan. I'm like, oh, great. That's only like one of the 2 pillars of income that I have in the wintertime. Oh, yeah, there's a salt shortage, which I already knew that there was a salt shortage because there's a salt shortage. Can you even make this up? Yeah. Yeah, let's let the one that we definitely want her in charge of key strategic. Ugh. I know what you guys are saying. Look, I heard all of you. Trust me. He's not going to let her do anything. I hope that's true. I hope that's true. And then I'm like, wow, this is reminding me of the, they called it many things. Remember that? They called it the plague. Some people even called it the Kung flu of 2020. I'm like, oh, wait. Before you know it, we're going to have another. And I'm like, wait, what's this? And this is something I'm not even joking about, guys. Look into it. It's trending all over X right now. It's hitting all these mainstream news outlets too. Like, it's just all over the place. They supposedly have found a new variant. And I'm not going to get too deep into it because I remember before they would nuke your channel if you even talked about it. And if this comes to fruition, and I hope it doesn't, but if they're able to pull this one off, if you know what I mean, if they're able to pull this one off, yeah, pillbox bunker, what's happening, man? We're literally sitting on salt mines, the whole city of Detroit. It'll be gone one day if they keep mining the salt, but I guess they don't care. They keep mining. But look, salt shortage right now in Michigan, like the salt capital of wherever. So now there's literally a new, and again, I have to be like really careful because if you even said like certain words, they would like nuke the crap out of you on here. Like I narrowly escaped it myself. But they're literally saying there's a new variant. You can't even make this up. It's in Wuhan. They said it's in a bat. And now it has certain types of receptors on it that they believe makes it transmissible to people. And that the mortality rate's 30%. And get ready, I guess. Man, I hope it does. I hope they don't pull this one off. I really don't. But you have to at least think about it. And this literally, like look, I think you guys know what I mean, right? You guys know what site we're on right now. They really did, man. They literally nuked, like, the name of it's the same as a popular beer. Some of you guys like to drink yourself a Corona, if you know what I'm getting at. Dude, they said there's a new one right now. And it's literally like, it's trending. It's completely trending. You can look it up on X. You can look it up on Google. Pandemic potential discovered in China. HKU5 dash. I mean, it's all, I'm reading it right now. It's just, I just don't want them to nuke this stream because I'm having a good time hanging out with you guys. That's literally the reason why I'm speaking very cryptically. Because I was a YouTuber at that time, and I remember when this came out. But yeah. Wow. You literally can't even make this up. And I hope this is all innocuous. Like, okay, fine. She's on this council of like whatever. Who cares? And I hope that's all it is. I truly do. I just wanted to dive into it a little deeper tonight to get into some of the more like philosophical implications, right? because I think there are some to this and some lessons to be learned. I'm reading your comments, guys. Please leave as many as you can. I'm learning from all of you. I'm telling you what's going on in my head, and please reciprocate back as little or as much as you want. But I'm like, okay, so there's this, and I'm thinking of her, and you can't even think of her or it or whatever. This right here, right? This here. You can't think of her without thinking of this plague that they brought onto us or whatever, however it happened. And then I'm like, Camela's up 26% in the Dem polls right now. And then I'm like, this is just reminding me too much of this Kung flu. And I'm like, wait, what's this? New variant found by a team led by Xi Zhangyi. And they said it's a bat and it's in Wuhan. And I'm like, whoa. Like, wake me up, dude. Like, when this ends. I thought I like had a dream and it was 2020 again. And I'm like, what? But yeah, I'm literally sitting there being like, well, at least we don't have a virus. And I'm like, wait, what's this? Makes me think about ammo. You guys should always be thinking about it. Think about it now while the getting's good. I'll just say that. I'm not going to get into that too much deeper right this second. But while the getting's good, man, I'm afraid to get on an airplane. Would anybody fly right now? Do some of you fly? Wow. I mean, will we have any eggs left? They're talking about now they gotta kill all the birds. I mean, this is like weird stuff's going on, man. Like real weird. I don't like it either. It's just interesting timing though. Like exactly, man. Like right here in the chat. I've been hearing it, but I think it's interesting timing. Yeah, man. It's like the governor of Michigan hits headlines. Camela's back in the headlines. Like, I didn't even think we'd have to hear about her for how long. And then I'm like, you know, when you think of a shortage and you think of the governor of Michigan, it certainly reminds you of 2020. I'm like, wait, what's this? There's a new Kung flu? And I'm like, what? It sounds like they're trying to brew it up as much as they can. Now, I hope we all laugh at this video and I get some comment from somebody 6 months from now. I really do. I mean this. It's like, dude, what's wrong with this guy? I can't believe he even brought this up. This was nothing. I hope so. I certainly hope this isn't like when I predicted the Russian ammo ban like 6 months in advance. That's a funny video. So I do this and I'm like, I'm doing this video saying, did Biden just ban Russian ammo? Maybe not yet, but he's going to. And everyone's like, yeah, right. This guy's fear-mongering. This is on my channel. Go look. It's from a few years ago. And then, like, it dies out. It doesn't get any views. I got heckled plenty for it because it's like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, I know what's going on here. Just wait and see. It was that kind of video. Bam, like a few months, 6 months later, whatever it was, Biden bans all the Russian ammo with the stroke of a pen. Boom, instantly. Because, see, I was the first person that when people started searching for it, because I had already done the video predicting it like months and months in advance. And all of a sudden, like, this video is dead. It gets like 1 view a week at this point, right? And then, bam, it's getting like hundreds of views, then thousands of views a day out of the blue. And I'm like, whoa, this video, no one's watching this anymore. People already said I was full of crap to their heart's content and whatever. I wish I was full of crap. Just like I hope that none of this is too. That's the moral of the story. Then, bam, it happens. And everyone's in the comments being like, wow, dude, like, this guy couldn't have predicted it more accurately. Like, who is this guy? Like, how did he know this? And then they were praising me, which is good. I mean, I'm like, well, you know, I told you guys he was going to do something like this, and he did. Now, this is nothing like that. I'm not predicting that this new flu, this whatever, is going to take us over, but man, oh man, it's reminding me a lot of what we were hearing like in very late 2019, that time frame, if you remember. It reminds me of that, you know. Thank you, QD. Yeah, just he is giving you guys a good reminder. If you want to see all the comments, make sure you hit all comments because YouTube will automatically filter you in the chat down to just those top comments. So that's a good thing. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, that like button, because, well, I think somebody earlier, because look, I got a couple thumbs downs tonight. It is what it is, but I think here's how it happened. Ooh, looks like I have a couple more super chats to read. That's nice of you guys. Let me read those in 1 second. I think here's what happened. When I said, which one would you? I think somebody mistook that I took a little bit longer look at this one. Somebody caught me. I think, look, it was by like 1/100th of a second. 1/100th of a second, but look, I timed this. I had my producers in the back room here come back and give me a time lapse, right? Well, Lamy right there, obviously. Right? Lamy in the half track and Pillbox Bunker. Tell these guys about this, these young boys and girls watching. But anyways, they said 2A Edu, you took a 1/100th of a second longer look at this one. So one of the Camela fans just gave me a thumbs down because they thought I was showing a preference towards the Gretch. I mean, it's sad how this stuff works, but I have no preference. No preference. No preference. I think that's how some of these things happen, though. They're like, dude, he looked at... Some of these people take this stuff real serious. 2A Edu. You looked at the Gretch. I'll get a comment like in a week. You looked at the Gretch 10,000 millionth of a second longer than Camela. That proves you're actually a fan. Your Camela fan club card is hereby revoked. And you can only be in the True Gretch fan club. And I'm like, geez, oh, peace, but I wanted to be in both of their fan clubs. I wanted to be popular. Dad, I just wanted to be popular and hang out with hot chicks, but it's not enough for some people. So they accidentally give me the thumbs down, you know? Which I appreciate all of you guys that give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Wow, what's this? Now, look, I don't like the blue and red paradigm. I really don't. This two-party system, it's kind of effed in a way, if you really think about it. But I do like me a red super chat. QD coming in with a very generous $100 super chat. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. And actually, this is a good segue for what we're going to be talking about in just a minute, actually. He says, ask them at the Capitol about the closed door and midnight in the morning sessions about gun control bills. You want me to come back alive? I mean, there's certain rooms you go into and you go in and they're like, you can come in, but you better like it here because you'll be staying for a while. But let me keep reading. When it comes to some of these rooms, though, you want me to come back, right? I mean, just making sure. And midnight in the morning sessions about gun control bills. Then ask if they like the fact that we're ruining their anti-American agenda by live streaming it on YouTube and all of us making fun of them for being traitors. Oh, man, that did put a smile on my face. Okay, so I can get that point across. As far as me, like, okay, so now that I read all of it, we'll do that. But I ain't going in some of these back rooms, man. I don't want to end up being like whatever food or... I mean, I'm not saying I have like the best instincts, but I do have enough instincts not to go into like a predator's lair without becoming dinner. Thank you, cutie. I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you as always. And I hope you're doing good, man. I sent you a text message and was like, Happy New Year. And I didn't hear back from you. And it's like, man, I don't take friends for granted. So I'm glad to see you're doing good, dude. So thank you. Why didn't you return my New Year's Eve text message? No, it's all good. Trust me. A popular guy like you got so many that it got, you know, kind of, I get it. I'm just razzing you. But no, in all seriousness though, I was like, dude, I hope he's okay. And I do. I hope you are okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Rescue Nut with a super chat and a channel member. Well, thank you, Rescue Nut. Oh, wait a minute. What's this? New number. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, hey, just so you know, man, if it's the thought that counts, I did wish you a Happy New Year and was hoping you and in the family and everybody's good, you know. I was hoping the best for you and yours for the new year. So just understand the message that I sent to the wrong phone number. Wouldn't that be funny if I was like sending messages to QD and it was Kamala Harris, this new phone? Just think about that for a minute. Could you imagine? Wow. That would be kind of funny, actually. Rescue Nut says, just be yourself and say what needs to be said. Well, I appreciate the support, man. And that's what I do. I just be myself and say what needs to be said. And yeah, thank you. I do want to say some funny stuff to some of these people, though, that do these back rooms. You know what I mean? Some of these back room deals. Happy New Year. See, Ace Apato's laughing. I mean, dude, I wish him a Happy New Year, and I accidentally texted Kamala Harris. Can you believe it? I was wondering why. Man, they said the governor of Michigan would like to offer you communion, and she'd like to take you up on your offer to hang out on New Year's. And I'm like, I didn't text her that. Oh, shoot. Maybe I did. Cutie changed his number. I did text the governor of Michigan and the former junior senator from California. Wow. Jeez, oh, Pete. But wife, I can explain. Can you imagine this? I'm talking to the lovely wife, and she is lovely. And I'm like, darling, but I can explain. I didn't mean to be texting the governor of Michigan and then Camela asking him out for dinner. I promise. It's not like it looks. Has anyone been in this situation? It's not what it looks like. It's not that. Like, I literally thought I was texting QD. Uh-huh. That's what they all say. And then she's going to read the next one. Did she say yes? And it's like, well, of course she said yes. That's why I have to bring security with me to the Capitol to keep all these women off of me. But no, I was just asking Cutie to hang out, though, darling. I didn't know I was texting. I didn't know I was texting the former vice president candidate or whatever the heck she was. I mean, wow. Oh, boy. Yeah, how do you pronounce his name, guys? Look, I'm just reading it phonetically. It's called Pete. They call him Mayor Pete, I think. They call him many things with all these people. Pete Buttigieg. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But I'm not sure. I'm trying my best. What's up, Grizzly Man? Thank you for being a channel supporter. Wait, wear a blue necktie, then I'll be okay. Yeah, dude, I've been accused of being a Democrat before, Mateo, because I like the sky blue shirt. And I'm like, well, I don't think the Democrats work hard enough to get all these stains on their shirt like I do, though. That's the big difference, right? All right, so I'm going to get into some viewer questions in just a few minutes. But before I do that, I wanted to go into the other part of the title. So you guys are familiar with the State of the Union address that the president does every year. Well, also, and I believe this is in all, yeah, make sure you guys, what's happening, Mike? Thank you for becoming a channel member tonight, by the way. I think I saw that right before the stream started. I think you became a channel member just tonight. And if you did, thank you. And thank you to all of you who have been this whole time. But yeah, you have to, I don't know how to pronounce their names, but thank you for helping me out because I don't know. They all say their names differently every time I read it. But anyway, so there's the State of the Union. Well, each of the 50 states, I believe it's all of the 50 states, have what's called a State of the State address. This is like the big hoopla for the year. Well, normally, people like me aren't allowed to cover such events because I actually applied for a media credentials in the Michigan Senate, and I got turned down the next day very, very quickly. They said, dude, you're just not the media. You don't report on anything. And I'm like, dude, I'm the only one reporting on most of this 2A stuff in Michigan. And they said, nope, you're not considered the news. You're not fake enough. And you're not bought and paid for enough. That's basically how I took it anyways. Well, if you look at the Senate minority leader, so he's the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, Nesbitt. So Leader Nesbitt actually put out a thing where he's opening up his office to some members of the, quote, alternative media. So in other words, the real media, which is very akin to what the Trump administration's doing. I'm sure some of you have noticed that the Trump administration is now allowing YouTubers, whatever's coming in. I mean, not people like me, but like really famous ones for the most part, as far as I know, like the big time social media influencers, I think is what those people like to call themselves. They can come in now and actually be part of the press briefings and get press credentials for the White House. Okay. Well, this is kind of the Michigan version of that. They won't give a media credentials or a media pass to anybody like me or anybody like you. Well, Leader Nesbitt has opened up his offices to his offices. I mean, when you're the leader, you have like multi-room office. It's like a whole suite. I've never been in his office exactly, but I can imagine what it looks like. He's opened that up for alternative media people to come in and be able to cover the event. And I'm like, you know what? I am going to do that for two reasons. I'm going to go there for the people, for you guys, so we can ask some questions and try to find out what the heck's going on with 2A in Lansing right now. And also just to kind of stick it to the man, you know, where they're like, yeah, you're not allowed to go because you're not reporting anything because I'm not a member of like cable news or the newspaper. Does anyone even get the newspaper anymore? Maybe, but hey, whatever. So I'm going to go to the Capitol and yeah. Okay, hold on. Dale with the member for 45 months. Wow, man, that's a long time. Thank you for all the support, dude. He said he's called Booty Judge. Okay, there you go. Booty Judge. Hey, some of these vowels can have different sounds, you know. So yeah, man. He's called Booty Judge. There you go. Nice. I'm gonna be rather well educated by the time I wait, hold on. Random guy from Oz. What's happening, man? He says butt edge. Okay. I think you guys are saying I was pronouncing it all wrong. I was pronouncing it butt gig. That's what it looked like to me, just phonetically speaking, anyways. Yeah, wow. So when I go there, like all of like the people are going to be there. This is in front of what's called a joint session. So all of the Michigan senators, all the Michigan representatives will be in attendance for this. I mean, it's a speech is what it is, but it's kind of like a big to-do, right? You know how like the State of the Union is for the president. This is the equivalency of that for the state. And it'll be a packed house and there'll be all kinds of people there. So this is all one big if. If I can get any of them, is there any specific representatives or senators that you guys wouldn't mind me talking to for a minute? And is there any topics you want me to bring up regarding the Second Amendment? Now, so throw all those in the live chat now. I will review this. If I can't keep up in real time, I'll review it afterwards. And also, if you're watching on replay, leave it in the comments there. So is there anybody, maybe one of you are like, well, my senator is Joe Bellino, and I wouldn't mind hearing from him for a few minutes. I'd like to get a few of these guys, and I don't know if you call them interviews or quick talks, but ask them some questions or for them to comment on a few things on camera so I can put together something to come back and share with all of you. So maybe one of you is like, well, I've heard something about a state representative. Her name's Jamie Thompson. And I'll be like, sounds like an interesting gal. I'll have to see if I can look into her, right? You know what I mean? And you're like, well, I'd like you to maybe do a little video with or ask some questions of Michigan Representative Jamie Thompson. There you go. Maybe one of you, Steve Carra, right here, author, Representative Steve Carra. You guys know what I'm getting at. So if you have anyone in particular, maybe they're your representative or senators, what I'm getting at. Let me know. Now, look, I can't guarantee you any of these people, but I will make a list and try, like actually seek them out and be like, hey, can so-and-so, can you try to get their attention and see if they can come in whatever room that I'm working out of because they're going to set up his office. You guys get my point, right? So I'll try my best, and I know a lot of these people. Now, I know the number one thing you guys are going to ask for is Lori Pohutsky. Do you guys remember her? She was the one with the gavel. Dressing like whatever. Like, this is a real beauty, trust me. Probably she wouldn't take me up on my invitation. You know what I mean? But hey, I mean, Lori Pohutsky, would you like to come in and talk to my viewers about the Second Amendment? She'll probably say no. So, but I mean, I know that's the most popular request. All right, but let me know. Let me know what you guys think. And then as far as topics go, let me know about the topics because I do want to do this for you guys. I'll tell you a couple real basic things I'm going to ask about. Some of the things I believe they can defund, like that tip hotline through the schools. that needs funding. Well, with the Republicans controlling the House, I believe that they can have now I know it's a very, very like steep negotiation, and how did floor leader Brian Posthumous word it? You guys saw that video I did with him a couple weeks ago. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a knockdown drag out. But we need to advocate to these Republican reps that all ran on the Second Amendment that they need to dig in their heels and defund some of this stuff. Like that tip hotline would be a big one, right? I also want them to defund all of the budget for the weapon scanners and detectors, and the Capitol being a gun-free zone. Because just remember, this is still just a Capitol Commissioner's rule. That law did not pass. So in my opinion, and I think anyone's opinion who actually looks at it, if they can cancel the funding, then that goes away too. So there's several things along those lines. I want to talk to him about that. And then Senate Leader Nesbitt also was talking about having a version of DOGE within Michigan. And my friend Brendan Boudreaux from Great Lakes Gun Rights, some of you guys know him, great guy. He made a tweet the other day saying, why doesn't he look at all of the excessive money that Michigan's robbing from people with these permits, CPLs, purchase permits, all these permits that people are having to pay to exercise their natural God-given right to keep and bear arms? So that's one thing that I had written down. I'm like, yeah, I will bring that up. I'm not going to have a long time with the Senate leader, but I was told that he will be stopping by to take questions and have a little bit of time to talk to us. Keep in mind, these people are here with their guest of honors. This is a VIP event. I'm not a VIP. We're not VIPs per se, right? Like we are. The Second Amendment's VIP to a lot of these people. I didn't mean it that way, but I'm not like, like a real like highfalutin, high clout type of guy. So I'm not just gonna be able to snap my fingers but what I will do is this. I will try to get some of these people to come in on camera and answer some of the top questions that you guys have or requests that you all have. Does that sound like a good idea? Because look, it's like you guys with your channel memberships, your super chats, a lot of you guys over on locals using my links when you buy stuff. And by the way, I posted some really good stuff over there you might want to look at just tonight. All that adds up. Okay, we pull it together. I can physically go and do things like this. So therefore, that's when I say, like, I'm there for all of you. I want to bring you all there as much as I can. That's what I mean by that. But at the same time, you know what I mean, QD? No, Jamie is awesome, and she's a good friend of mine, and she's right at the top of my list of people I want to talk to. Okay, Angela Regas and Ken Borton. Sounds good. Sounds good. I know both of them. I know Angela actually quite well. Angela, very pro Second Amendment. Ken Borton, good one. Good one to talk to. Let's see what else we've got here. This is good. Some of you guys do know some of the names of these representatives, senators. Okay, so chime on in because, yeah, so let me know, like, the name of somebody you'd like to see chime in because you just want to hear them for yourself, There's really something to that. And I'd like to be able to tell some of these people, like, hey, one of your constituents or a couple of your constituents, your voters, your neighbors, however you want to be referred to as, would like me to ask you this. And that'd be pretty cool. So they know that you guys are paying attention. So they know you guys have got their back. Or maybe, hey, maybe they need to answer to something. Maybe you've got a bit of beef and you want to see what they have to say for themselves. This could go either way, right? Marianne, he must have a reason for the madness of thinking this. If you're talking about Trump, look, I'm hoping he has a good reason, because it does sound like madness at first. Like, I'm going to point Gretchen to this. But hey, a lot of you guys have said, I'm sure he's got his reasons. And here's the deal. I can't prove that he doesn't have his reasons. And I hope that he does. I assure you. With seeing what this woman's capable of, this whatever it is capable of, I really, really hope that Trump's got a plan and that he's going to make sure that this is to our advantage in the long run. I really do. Robert Chase, Jay DeBoyer. Yes, Jay's a good one. I like Jay. Jay happens to be somebody that, look, I don't mean like within minutes, because these are very busy people. They're all like representing 90,000 or more citizens of Michigan. So like I said, very busy people and quite frankly, very important people that need to be in there standing up for the Second Amendment. But Jay's one personally where if I personally text his cell phone number, he'll get back to me in like a timely fashion. So he's a good one. See? QD, my dude's Trump's onto that dumb Gretch. Oh, I'm sure he's onto her. I just hope that, man, like, here's the thing. I do actually know where you guys are coming from. I do. Like, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Yes. The only thing I'm really having a fine line with is, but how close is too close, right? Like, how close is too close? That's the thing. And then I do mean everything I said earlier. Like, are there any friends like in the government like at all? Well, that's a whole concept you could rack your brain on for hours. Okay, the DNR. Republicans need to keep their boot on the necks of the DNR. Okay, nice. Nice. Okay, QD said, very true, Toot. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay. See, now the way you spell your name, my friend, and thank you for being a channel member, it could be read as too tall sale, or it could be too all sale. Think too tall. Am I reading that right? Just let me know, because like I get really embarrassed if I'm like mispronouncing you guys' names. But your username just happens to be one that you could read it different ways because there's different words in there. But he says Trump has bigger fires than Gretch. I hope so. Too tall. Okay. Awesome. Too tall. Okay. But you do know what I mean, right? You could read that as three separate words. Cool. No, I know he's got big fires. I know. Yeah. Dude, I'll call Trump out for what Trump's doing wrong. You guys know I will. I know a lot of you don't like it when I do. But hey, man, I'll praise him when he deserves praise. This is different. I'm not even calling him out as much. And I'm not praising him for this either. I'm questioning it. And there is a big difference. And I think all of us are good enough friends by now where I can question it in a candid fashion, right? Like, Trump just did this. What the heck's wrong with him? Why would he do that? Well, I literally sat there. And read like some of the most popular comments you guys left. And I'd say for the most part, with me not still coming to my final conclusion, you guys did a pretty dang good job explaining it, actually. So I'd like to give you guys some compliments. And then thank you for helping me because I'm like, dude, no way. This is BS. Somebody better be able to help me figure this out. You know what I'm saying, right? He had 2 pillboxes telling me. I don't know that he had to nominate literally her, though. I'm not sure about that. And I don't know that the president has to do anything either. So I'm not sure about that. That may be true, but I'm just not sure that he had to like very specifically pick Gretchen Whitmer. I don't know. I know that it had to be bipartisan and he had to pick 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans. Sure. Yeah. Trump may want to defund Whitmer about funding Chinese plants in Michigan, and she needs to do that. He needs to do that, rather. She needs to be defunded. Did you guys hear about the governor of Maine, right? This was breaking just before I got on here, but I believe it's the governor of Maine started running her mouth about, we have to think of a very careful way to word this. You guys know I work on a lot of vehicles and stuff, right? And some of you that wrench on vehicles, or even if you're just a car or truck enthusiast, you're familiar with a very integral part of a car called a transmission, right? An automotive transmission. Sometimes for short, people call the transmission of a vehicle a trans. Sometimes that specific vehicle part. Okay, YouTube, very carefully. We're talking vehicles here. Sometimes they even call that part of the vehicle the tranny. So apparently, I'm guessing she's more of an automatic transmission type, okay? And I'm guessing Trump's more of like a stick shift transmission. So basically she comes in talking about trans rights. Well, I'm guessing that must mean she's like, dude, I have the right to an automatic trans. And I guess Trump just threatened her with federal funding, like rather brazenly. I'll have to look into this a little bit further. But this was just breaking before I came on tonight. So yet again, Trump is having a rather theatrical, from what I understand, very and I say theatrical meaning like it sounds like in a good way, like he's just pouring it to her and humiliating her on the public stage. From what I understand, I need to watch these videos. I'm just kind of reading like short little excerpts because one of you in the chat, JR, right? Are you still watching, man? Had come in. I think it was JR. If I'm getting it wrong, chime back in. But right before he's like, dude, did you hear about? And I'm like, no, I'll go look at it. But it sounds like Trump's really giving it to her right now. Trans rights. All I can really think of when I see this, it says that they clash over trans rights. I'm guessing she only wants to drive a certain type of car with a certain type of transmission in it. That's really about the only thing I could think of when it comes to that. Really. Right, Jane Locke? I'm assuming she's a car buff. What else can I say? I'm thinking to myself, man, you know, the R100, the AODE. Dude, I remember my old Dodge, my 1989 with the 5.9 Cummins. That had the old 727 Torque Flight trans. Anybody out there remember the old Torque Flight? You know what I'm talking about? Somebody's got to be old enough to remember this. Not saying you're old, Dale, but Dale might know what I'm talking about. What about the Allison 1000 trans? I mean, I can't think of any other trans that exist. Yeah, he let it rip, didn't he, Robert Chase? There's JR. That's what you were talking about, right, JR? Yeah. Still watching. So look, dude, I can't wait for the day. Maybe Trump put her on this council because one of these days, okay, she's gonna be right up there. You know what I mean? And he's just gonna let her have it. He's gonna say you're owned by China. Or however he says it. China. But yeah, man, like, ooh. Okay, hold on a minute. Some of you guys are into automobiles. Nice. Look, I kind of like wrenching if you guys want to know the truth, but only kind of in the abstract. Like if I could do it for fun and tinker, yeah. But when you're like broke down and you're hoofing it and having to like walk to the part store to get the part and come back and you're laying in the snow, then you don't like so much. So I do kind of like it. Like I like the tools. I like mechanical things. So I do actually like it a lot. But then like you hate it a lot if you're doing it when you're like broken down and ready to lose your business and stuff like that. Okay, hold on a minute. Steve Gunner says, pretty sure she's not trans. Ooh, her nickname is H, and HS was stretching for reasons. Exactly. No, I wasn't talking about her. I said clearly there's this argument about automatic versus manual transmissions from Trump and the governor of Maine right now. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm just looking at this is literally what the headlines say. See you in court. Maine governor clashes with Trump over trans rights. And again, man, I'm not by profession, but by default and out of necessity, I'm kind of like a motorhead. I'm always out there working on stuff. So when I see trans, I'm thinking, well, she's saying rights. She must mean she has the right to an automatic trans. Maybe Trump's more of a stick shift, a manual trans, kind of guy for his cars. So I'm assuming that's what this is about. But nonetheless, they're saying like tense exchange and stuff in these different headlines. And I'm like, whoa. Wow. Okay. Mike Hammond is chiming in saying 727 were great racing builds. I know, isn't that interesting? But then like they put them, it was probably for a short time, I don't know. But they literally also put them in heavy duty trucks. Like a W250 Dodge. That was back before Dodge put the 2500 on there. They were just called, 250s, 350s. Okay. Two Talls Ale. There you go. Bruised beer. And it'd be nice if they'd allow you to put the spaces in your username. Or maybe you could. I don't know. There we go. Bruised beer. All right. Thank you for putting it into perspective, man. Because when I give you guys shout outs and thank yous, I'm sure, I'm sure I mispronounce a lot. Yeah, blowing a trans does not mean the same thing these days. Dude, I know these new transes have gotten so computerized. It's like you have to be a computer tech. That's why you don't even hear the word. Yeah, dude, these transes are a lot different nowadays. I completely agree with you, man. Blowing a trans used to mean like hard parts. I've had to replace like, a transmission line blows that's going up to the cooler in the front. Now blowing a trans means totally different things. They're all computerized. They've got their own, computer ECM. Cars have what's referred to as data networks now. I'm not even joking. It's like a networking system, right? Where they use these little itty bitty like Cat 5, Cat 6 cables. And now it's no longer even mechanic, it's auto technician. Because you're actually just as much of a tech as you are a wrencher when it comes to so many aspects of automobiles. So I agree with you, man. His first truck was an 87 Dodge with a 727. Okay. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, this was an 89, which was the first year they brought the 5.9 Cummins, the old mechanical 12 valve as it's called. Basically like a tractor motor, a piece of like equipment motor is actually really what that was. Yeah, man. You guys know what I'm saying, right? I mean, oh yeah, I do believe there's only two genders, 100%. And that's why when I saw in the headlines that they were going at it about a trans, I'm like, dude, I guess she's into auto. I guess she's into automotives. Right? And when Abrams has an Allison tranny. Well, nice. Do you guys have any questions? I'm reading the chat because we did reach our super chat goal tonight. Quick reminder, anything you want me to ask any of these representatives or senators? Is there a particular Michigan representative or Michigan senator you want me to ask to talk to us a little bit about 2A issues? And let me know on that. If you guys have any other questions, chime in there. I'm going to jump off in just a few minutes. But I want to spend a couple minutes with you guys if you have any questions. Okay, nice. Robert Chase loves building muscle cars, hot rods, hot boats, hot bikes, and snowmobiles. Yeah, as far as boating, that makes me think of the governor of Michigan. Somebody said she should be on the council of boating for Michigan. Somebody left that in my comments of that video. I thought that was funny. I thought that was a good one. Okay, Rescue Nut says, I was a Turbo 400 or C6 man, but yes, when you deal with those people, you have to stop itinerary at tracks. Let me see if I'm reading this right. So I got the turbo part, but yes, when you deal with those people, you have to stop itinerary. It's tracks if you cower down. Okay. Maybe that came out a little bit garbled on your phone, but I'm not quite following that. What do you guys think? What's happening, Dennis? Dennis FW1. What's up, Randy Smith? Nice to see you, man. Yeah, the 3 on the tree, dude. No, I literally, like, one of the first vehicles I ever drove was my dad's old 79 F-150. It was called an F-150 Ranger. Does anyone remember that? Now, later on, I ended up owning like a 93 Ranger, a 1994 Ranger. They were the smaller trucks at a certain point. But if you went back in the 70s, his was called a Ranger, which was like a half-ton truck, right? Like a bigger full-size, if you want to call it that. But yeah, he had one of those old Ranger full-size Fords, and it had the 3 on the tree. I can still remember how it worked. Let me close my eyes. So you've got on the tree means you're up on the column, right? And this was a stick shift, but it was a 3-speed stick. So you go in and up was reverse, right? And then you come back down to the middle position was your neutral. In and down was first gear. Then you come back up, out, and then up was second gear. And then stay out, and I mean out like in and out, the way the lever moves on the column. Stay out and come down for third gear. So do I have that right? I think I do. It's been a long time. My dad said one time too. He's like, yeah, I don't think I didn't see you spinning some gravel when you left the driveway that day when he let me borrow it. But yeah, in and up was reverse. In, meaning you guys know what I'm talking about on the column. You pull it in, the lever. It's like towards you. In and down was first. Then you get back up to the neutral position, come out and go up for second, and then straight down from that into third. Now that had the straight 106. The 306. I'm sorry. I said straight 100. The 300 straight six. There we go. I can talk. I promise. She's talking about these people. It's a wonder I can still talk. Yeah. The 300 straight six. That has to be one of the best gas motors like made of all time for durability. Like, talk about an engine that would last forever. You could sit on one of the ender fenders and under the hood and work on it. Oh, yeah. Now, I had another unique transmission, too. I had a 1962 Dodge Dart, and that had the slant six engine in it. Okay. Darts came with a slant six or a V8, different models. But this was a 62, and it was an automatic, but it was a push button. So you'd have to have your foot on the brake, and there was a lever, a park lever. So just imagine the steering wheel's here. This thing literally had a vacuum tube radio in it, all original. It had originally come from West Virginia. The paint was faded on it. Literally, it was powder blue. Can't even make this up. We repainted it here in Michigan. It was too nice of a car to drive in the salt and whatnot because it was in like perfect shape. And this was back when I was like 16. So it ended up being best just to sell it because it wasn't a car for a guy like me at that age. But it was a beautiful old car. It was like grandma and grandpa's car. No one had sat in the back seat type of deal. And this was like in the late 90s, and it was a 1962. So it was already a classic. But there was a parking lever where you put the foot on the brake and you'd slide the lever from park over to like take the parking, take it out of park. And then there was a push button, literally like there was a push button for drive 1, drive 2, whatever. Is anyone familiar with a push button trans on the dash? Look it up if you don't believe me. This was a 1962 Dodge Dart. Mike Hammond, absolute best engine Ford ever made. Yeah, there's just certain like really good engines out there, aren't there, for different brands. I know a lot of you guys are brand specific. It's kind of like whatever, I've had them all before. Here's what it comes down to. In Michigan, they're all junk. They all rust. All of it's just junk at the end of the day, unless you're lucky enough to keep it in the old pole barn or garage and only drive it on Sunday in the summer. But other than that, they're all junk in this state. It just is what it is. The roads are so crappy. We use so much salt, right? Oh, yeah. Let me see here. Okay, some of you guys said I did get that right. Okay, yeah. Okay, Fire Rodder. What's happening, Fire Rodder? He says, yep, you got it. Right on. And Dennis is saying right on target. Cool. It's been a long time, but once you remember, you don't really forget this stuff. Just like when it comes to General Motors, man, I've got a 2005 Buick LaCrosse. I still have to finish putting the new rack in it. The rack and pinion, the steering rack. That's been sitting on blocks for longer than I'd like to admit right out the door over there. But that's got that 3800 motor in there. Series 3 with the aluminum intake on it. That 3800 engine, though, too. Since we're talking about good engines out there, man, I just want to give a shout out to some of the GM guys. There's something about that 3.8, that 300. Oh, Asa Potter says, yep, our work trucks are push button trans. All right. Yeah, so I've got a couple automatic transes in my work trucks. I think my old 2000 Power Stroke with the 7.3 in it, I think that's the 4R100 in that one. I've never had to work on it. Oh, geez, oh, Pete, did I just jinx myself? I've not had to do anything to the trans on that truck. But I'm pretty sure it has the 4R100. QD says, I have a 6.2 2012 SVT Ford Raptor. Well, that's nice. That's a pretty fast truck too, isn't it? He says with 500K on the engine. Wow. Wow, man. Oh, he's saying, I'm sorry. He's saying with 40K miles. Okay. And then he's saying a 500K mile engine, meaning it can go that far. I think I read that right. Nice. Did you guys have any questions? If not, I'm good with talking about cars for another minute here, and then I'm going to jump off. Dude, I can get into all the oil leaks on the Power Strokes, the H-Pop. I can also get into the woes of the 6.6 Duramax, specifically my 2005 LLY that's also sitting out back. look, all these trucks have their woes to them. Trust me. We can all be fans of certain ones, and that's awesome. But I'll tell you guys, at the end of the day, they're all junk. Every last bit of it. I think some of you that have either been working on your own stuff, or especially if you work on a shop, you know more than I do. You're kind of nodding and laughing. And look, I say that affectionately, but I say it seriously too. It's all junk. I mean, even though we have our favorites, and I'll tell you, the 7.3 Power Stroke International engine, great engine, except for it'll leak oil out of this, it'll leak oil out of that. Now, I don't mean out of like the rear main seal, nothing like that. Very uncommon, actually. I'm talking there's like your H-pop lines. There's literally your dipstick tube flange on the side of the oil pan for those that's known to leak 50% of the time, every time. You know what I'm saying? There's your valley. There's your turbo pedestal with that big Garrett turbo on top. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? If you're a 7.3 Power Stroke guy, you do know what I'm talking about. Electronic fired injectors. Look, they're high pressure oil injectors. They're fired by high pressure oil, right? High pressure oil pump on the 7.3 Power Stroke. Jump over to the 6.6 Duramax. I can at least speak for the LLY generation. Those are electronic injectors. Here's the problem with those. You have to change an injector out. Good luck, unless you got a really expensive scan tool, or you go to the dealership, because those, it'll run, but not very well, unless you have like super expensive software to reprogram them. It's 6 of one, it's half dozen of the other, you know. You could change your injectors out yourself on an old 7.3 Power Stroke, and you don't need to have access to the dealer per se. 6.6 Duramax, that's a different story, right? At least on the generation that I own. Now, 5.9 Cummins, 12 valve, the mechanical, the very like the OG that they started bringing into the pickup trucks here with Dodge at that time. Those, I don't even know what the pitfalls of those are, because I don't know if that engine ever breaks down or needs work done at all. And I'm saying that from experience. It's like one of the craziest reliable, super low horsepower. Again, there's always trade-offs, super low horsepower, but I don't know if that engine ever has anything wrong with it. I say that sarcastically, but like I literally don't even know if there's anything that goes wrong with those. But again, super low horsepower, and the truck they put it in, electrical nightmare, rust nightmare. The clear coat would peel off and you'd start having surface rust all over it. Even people that live in the South that don't salt their roads still have rusty old Dodges of that time. It was just a thing. In 89, especially around that type of year, electrical nightmare. So look, I could rip on all of them, but there's stuff to like about all of them too at the same time. Fun to learn. What's happening, man? He says Timmy Beeson is on the House Appropriations Committee. What does he plan to defund as far as the 2A and not just DNR licensing? Okay, good. And I know Representative Matt Maddock is also the vice chair, and me and him have had one-on-one conversations about this exact topic. So I will try to talk to Representative Matt Maddock and Timmy Beeson, both of who I know. Dude, I love the old square body trucks though. Oh yeah. If you go online, people refer to the, like with the Fords, you've got your 7.3 Power Stroke, OBS, that's like the old body style. Now look, these are all old body styles now. There is no new body style 7.3 Power Stroke, but you know what I'm saying. But I like the old squared off trucks, man. Yeah, I would say I have owned a 6.6 Duramax. I actually still do, and it's stranded over there in the parking lot. Like right now. Leaking injectors. Changed one of them out. Still need to change the other one, but then I ran into, I'm like trying to go in a row, but now it's kind of a cluster, you know what, because I don't think I have the capability myself at my shop to balance them and program them and all this. It's like, oh. Visiting the car wash can help. Here's the problem, though. I can't visit the car wash in a plow truck. Now, you can kind of spray underneath the self-serve the best you can, but you still can't get all the angles and dangles. It's tough. Can't drive a plow truck with a salter on the back, which that's the one that needs it literally the most. And then my 2000 Ford F-350, the one with the Power Stroke I've been talking about, Yeah, that's a stake dump bed. So I've got that big stake dump body on it. It's a cabin chassis. Can't drive that either. And through any drive-through car wash. Now that particular one, I can't even drive it in any of the self-serve car washes that are around here. Couldn't do it. It's just too wide. It would literally hit the little pylons or whatever that block you from taking their wall out. And it's hard for me to just use my hose out here because the hose and all that's frozen solid as a rock. But when it gets up to 40 degrees or so, yeah, I'll get under there and hose off my trucks out in the parking lot here with just a regular hose. Yeah. What's up, Vince Metzger? Nice to see you, man. Finally finished loading your mags for tomorrow. Well, good deal. Oh, dude, the EPA, don't get me started on diesel exhaust fluid, and it's basically urine. They're telling you to piss inside your truck, and no, I'm not even joking. Like, that's actually what it is. It's crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like me an older truck. I do. I especially like the older trucks I see in the South where you all don't salt like crazy. Wild Bill, Ohio. What's happening, man? L67. He says, I had a few Regals with the L67 3800. Loved working on those cars, so easy. I'm talking about the plain Jane 3800, not the super fast one. I'm not a 3800 expert. I just know a little bit about from just people I've known and just all the miles on my car. It's kind of crazy. 6'4" Hemi. Yeah, man. I hope it can go a little longer for you too. If you're in Michigan, it's the miles, sure, and you want to take care of your engines. Dude, so many people now just have sludge in their engines, man. It's just like a sign of the time. It's like nobody wants to change their oil anymore. It's like, people, change your oil. Like you have to change your oil. But look, the problem in Michigan is you baby the engine, which is good to maintain it, and then all of a sudden, like, the whole car just falls apart. The whole truck just. I have a I have a Ranger sitting out there. It's the equivalent to the old Mazda B2000, B2300 series. The Mazdas and the Fords were Twinkies back then. The old Auto Alliance days, if anyone's familiar. But yeah, that's the 8-spark plug 4-banger. Engine still runs like a top. It's sitting like this, like in the shape of a V right now, because the main frame rail is about halfway through, rotted right in half, can't even support its own weight with nothing in the bed. And instead of it sitting flat, it's literally like this, and the bed's like wedged itself up against the back part of the window. Yeah, and the engine still runs like a top. And it's got like a couple 100,000+ miles on it, and it's a 1994. And if I lived in the South, I'd still be driving that thing around right now. But they literally rust in half. Ooh, the old inline 4 Jeep is good. Yeah, that's another good one I've heard about. Dude, in the 4-liter, not the 4-cylinder, but the 4-liter Jeep engine, that's a good one too, though. Actually, you know what I mean? Talking about 6 cylinders. I don't know anything about that, Asa. Actually, I don't. I don't really do that brand. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about the. Yeah. William Valentin says Ford 302 HC, straight 8, old Army guy. Wow, that's cool, man. I don't know much about that kind of stuff, but I think it's really cool. Like, if I could see what you're talking about, I would like it. I know I would. I love those old trucks. Like, they can't even hardly get out of their own way. They're so slow. It's like, first gear, you just watch the whole thing like rise up a little bit. You guys know what I'm talking about? And then he's finally up to 5 miles an hour. He's shifted 3 or 4 or 5 times. But I love that kind of stuff. It's cool, man. The old like Unimog and stuff. Oh, yeah. If you go back in the day. Old like Oshkosh trucks. Man, that stuff's cool. That stuff's like really cool now that I think about it. Should I get rid of all my guns and buy an old Oshkosh? An old semi? One with just like the loudest, most obnoxious Jake brake too. Just come through the hills. You brrr. It sounds like a Gatling gun. I mean, there's different speeds of Jake brake too. They're not all the same. Trust me. I know guys with fancy rigs where they get like 3 different selections, but man, some of those Jake brakes literally sound like a minigun almost. Some sound like a Gatling gun. Some of them, man, they just pow, 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 pow. That's what I should do, man. Just sell all my guns, get into one of them big old Oshkoshes, them big beasts. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Huge, right? And then just find the hill by the Governors and just keep driving by it all night long. Full Jake brake. Does that sound good? Ooh, buy a Humvee. I would like to. There's the electrical issues with those, though, right? Which I'm sure you know your way around. Oh, wait a minute. Talking about sucking fuel. David Reif says, first diesel I drove is a Cat 775G, rolls smoke and sucks fuel. Yeah, I can see that. Diesel fuel ain't bad. Diesel fuel is a good gun cleaner. I've got a diesel heater over there. Well, I know you have one, and you could walk me through it. Man, I need to get rid of all my guns and buy some old iron. Heck yeah, man. I could go out there, and there's just something about a nasty Jake brake. When I used to live right up the road here on the main road, there was some guy that come through every night. You could hear him coming up the hill. And then he'd get to the crest. And literally, like, I'm just as you're starting to come down the hill. And it literally would change. He'd wake you up, right? And if you didn't wake up, you were gonna. But it'd start off, and then it'd be, like it would just keep getting deeper and louder as he's not wanting to burn up his drum brakes or whatever he was running on the way down. What's happening, Threaded for my pleasure? How you doing, man? You doing good? Thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate all the support, man. He says 8V71 with straight pipes. 2-stroke gutless wonder. Sounds like heaven. LOL. Oh, man. You got to love some of the old gutless wonders, too. No, like some of them old trucks I'm talking about, you guys know I'm complimenting them, though. And this isn't because they're gutless. I'm just saying, like, you give it some gas, like, and it like raises up first before it even attempts to go forward. Oh man, let's see here. Tom Johnson says nope. What, you're not an Oshkosh guy? No, I think somebody else was asking him a question actually. Oh wait, no, Wild Bill, Ohio. You aren't from the Clawson area, are you? Nope. Uper. Okay, I got it now. You guys like loud trucks in the Upe, don't you? I wouldn't know this 100%, but there's some guys that like to do some four-wheeling up there that I know of anyways. Snowmobiles. Huh. You guys want to talk about snowmobiles, get in with these Upers. I'm serious. If you want to learn about snowmobiles, they'll tell you all about it. It's like nothing up there. You'll see like a bar or a gas station or a whatever, and there might be like 1 or 2 trucks and cars, and the rest is just like all snowmobiles. It's cool, man. And maybe there's other parts of the country you guys can share where they do that, but that's pretty cool, man. Where like everyone just drives their sleds into town, into whatever, and yeah, they'll just pull right up to the store and just park it there, or maybe they're going up to shoot some pool for the night, and they just drive it right up there and park it just in a parking spot like it's nothing. I'm going to read a couple more chats and then I'm going to jump off. I mean, I don't know. I can't afford none of the new stuff, guys. So if you want to know about new stuff, the newest vehicle in the fleet is my wife's 2012 Mazda 2. And I can tell you how to do struts on it. I can tell you about wheel bearings, sway bar links, brakes. I can tell you about some brakes on it. Haven't had to go into the engine much. I'm going to have to take the intake off, though, because there's a sensor I need to change. So I'll tell you more about the engine on that 2012 Mazda 2 soon. Marianne, I don't know if it's too late for the flu. I'm just saying, look it up for yourselves, guys. I ain't predicting nothing with this one. I hope it's not true. I just thought it's weird how like all this stuff comes out at the same time. Man, I hope it's too late for the flu. Good night, George. Oh, look at this. George has got an engine right there. See? Look. Can't leave you motorcycle guys out. Jeez, oh, Pete, I'm saying, is there any motorheads in the house? And look at this guy. You can't even make it up. How many people in the chat have an engine on there? That's cool. Right in his avatar. Wow. Drive a truck for work, the louder and more obnoxious, the better. Man, people on the road are such jerks nowadays. I mean, it is what it is, man. People are not so nice on these roads lately. All right, let me see here. Whoa, dude, Astrovan. I want one of those big time. Now, all of you are going to think I'm joking at the end here, but this is actually where I'm being serious. Like, I do like all these vehicles. Well, I saw all my guns to buy an old semi. Probably not. I saw you guys in the chat. You said don't do it. All right. But I do want to buy a minivan. Not even joking like at all. Like, there's nothing more I want vehicle-wise than a minivan. And I am going to try to make my move on one, hopefully, in the next month or so. As soon as I can get the money together. Good night, QD. Nothing but love to you all, and good night. Well, love you too, man, and have a good one, and nice seeing you. I'm glad I just had the wrong phone number for you, and you're like, okay. Because you can ask Mateo. I was just talking about you the other day. I'm like, dude, I hope QD's okay. Like, dude, if you never want to watch my videos again, like, I totally get that. That's fine. I was just like, dude, like, he didn't even answer my text. Like, I hope he's good. And now I know. Let's see here. Okay, 200 inches of snow. All right. Well, then you know what I'm talking about with snowmobiles, or as people call it, sleds. What's happening, Harry? Nice to see you, man. 24-hour flu, it was bad. That was 2 days ago. Man, there's all kinds of that stuff going around right now. Big time. I'm just talking about this new potential Kung flu that's been made. That's what they said. When they said Wuhan, I'm like, oh, boy. Oh, boy. Did they say Wuhan? What's up, Bill Alexander? Nice seeing you, man. Yeah. Good to see everybody. I agree with Bill. I do. God willing, Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise, we will see you guys on here again soon. Dude, an Astrovan all-wheel drive. Oh, man. Just good. Those have a real frame under them, right, Steve? Like a minivan that actually has a frame. I mean, wow. But I mean, unibody, whatever. It doesn't matter, though. The unibody rusts in Michigan. The frame rusts in Michigan. Good luck finding an Astrovan that's still alive in this state. Yeah, man. Thanks, Vince. I appreciate the encouragement, man. And yeah. Cheers to everybody. I agree. And I am going to jump off of here in 1 second. Gun guy, Toyota, Ford, or Chevy, they're all junk, man. In this state of Michigan, they're all junk. I don't know. Look, we got a Toyota Echo. My wife was driving it, and the whole rear quarter of the unibody busted off, and it literally spun all the way out on the freeway. But the engine still drove perfectly fine. Like, she's lucky she's alive from that. That was crazy. I don't know, man. Look, I've had them all, actually, once or twice. So there's my answer. They're all junk, but I like them all too, you know? I like them all, but they're all complete junk. Ooh, Astrovan's the frame in the front only. Rest is unibody. Okay, well, there you go. I'm not an expert on them, but I have admired them before. And I was under the impression they did have a frame under them, but a half frame. Wolf. Carry on. You too, man. Good night, Threaded. Nice to see you, dude. Threaded for my pleasure. I like that guy a lot. Good dude. I hope you're feeling better from that flu, man. Gotta love the road salt. Yeah, right. I know that was sarcastic. You better be sarcastic. No, he's being sarcastic, guys. I promise you he is. Robert Chase. Great night. Tonight's positive stream. No, I was having a good time tonight. Some people don't like it when I talk about certain things, but it's all good. I think we had a good discussion together. And I just saw I had a super chat pop in. And I also just saw that QD, let me get these in order. I'll get back. QD, man, if you're still watching, he gifted 10 2A EDU memberships tonight. And I hope he's not gone where I didn't get to thank him, but thank you. And hopefully the 10 of you will enjoy extra content that's available to the channel members, and including snails. If anyone likes snails, there's a video on that, and so much more that you can check into that member section of the 2A EDU channel. So thank you, QD. John Q. Public with a super chat. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. And he says, how will the Trump executive order on federal gun control per actions of AG Bondi affect constitutionality of gun control in Michigan now? We are going to have to see what happens, because his original executive order just tells her to get the list together, essentially. And then she brings it back to him. That should be coming pretty soon. Okay, I hope that they're going to follow through with this like they said. Then he's going to have to put actual executive orders in when it comes to these specific criteria, right? I think that's a good way to look at it. So the first one was an order ordering the AG to do all the fact finding. Find all the stuff that's BS per se, get it to him, and then he has to go through. So I think that's the best answer to your question. I don't want to just like give you too many guesses. We will have to see how much, or just to be frank about it, if any of it would affect any of the Michigan gun control at all. I'm trying to remain very optimistic about Trump, okay? I have reasons for my past skepticism. I'm trying to keep my mind completely open. I'm trying to be very positive. And I do hope and anticipate he'll get that together. So we will come back and talk about that when he gets those executive orders done, based on when she gets him the list of all of the stuff. Dude, Toyotas are great cars, gun guy. They are. I was just doing the whole, dude, they're all junk in this state. You know, they're all junk. They all suck. You know, that's all I meant by that. But no, I mean, they're all fun too. And the Toyota makes a good car, man. Good night, Gort. Take it easy, man. You have a good weekend too. Yeah. Fun to learn says, I think QD gives 2A memberships to expand the love of the snails to all. Yeah, I think he does actually. He's a big fan. Actually, I'm pretty sure he's off already, so he won't hear me say this. But I think QD can't stand those snails, actually. But we'll say that he loves them just to mess with him, because he's a good dude. You know what I mean? March 7th will be the 30 days. Thank you for keeping track, and Bondi better get with it. And then I hope Trump gets with it and does what he says he's going to do with all that. So we will have to see how they're written. Make sense? All right, guys, I'm going to jump off. And as Harry Grimley says, good night, everyone. Stay strong and stay safe. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good one.